One of the peculiar characters of Indian architecture is its innate inclination to transcend its structural form. An Indian temple, be it Buddhistic, Jaina or Hindu, is a monument par excellence rather than a mere utilitarian covering or a shelter from heat and rain. Indian architecture always attempts to cover the form necessitated by its structural scheme under the cloak of a symbol, and its decided inclination is to achieve a plastic pattern. Fundamentally an image house, the Indian temple aspires to the form of the image itself. This sculpturesque treatment of the structural form is almost a habit with the Indian architect. The Buddhist stupa is not merely an elaborate casket for a holy relic, but easily symbolizes the image of a seated Buddha with his head crowned by a series of concentric chakras. The long perpendicular lines of the Vimana of the Lingaraja temple, with its stately crown of Amalaka, is a true picture of a gigantic Shiva lingam, not merely a stone covering for it. The typical temple of the Khajuraho group, with its shoulders spread out, looks like a veritable image of Vishnu carrying an elegant mukuta. The stately gopurams of the Dravidian temples are pictured, as it were, in the outlines of deified forms. They impress you with the presence of the divinity itself. This sculptural habit finds ample scope in many details of the southern temples, in devising gigantic monolithic pillars and caryatids which literally totter under the weight of the gallery of portraits of gods, kings, men, and animals. Every part of the architectural form tends to swell into a figure. Indeed, sculpture is regarded as an organic part of architecture and inevitably springs from all kinds of structural forms. Even in the comparatively simpler designs of northern Indian temples, the pillars are figured in the lyrical forms of elaborate vases from which sprout all kinds of ornamental plants in the glory of their tropical luxuriance, which make one forget that a pillar, after all, is a useful, though a somewhat prosaic prop for carrying weight. The aesthetic beauty of Indian architecture derives its quality from the expression of a plastic idea, the result of an image making, an idolatrous instinct rather than that of a purposeful structural design. The forms of some of the types can be related to the symbolism of Indian metaphysical thought. Thus, the theory of rebirth, adopted both by the Brahminical and Buddhist creeds, according to which the numerous cycles of birth and rebirth leading to a variety of life forms, rising higher and higher and growing narrower until matter becomes absorbed and united with the divinity, was undoubtedly of the greatest significance in determining that form which occurs in the temples with conical towers which diminish and taper off to a spire. Thus, the types of architecture are microcosmic mirrors of the macrocosm and therefore had to be shaped in accordance with the principle of totality, which symbolizes universality in the world of matter. Indian architecture is thus a monumental expression of metaphysical symbolism.